and this time it's going to be a little bit higher ranked. So just a wee bit higher ranked, and a random map with a interesting pond in the middle. Just interesting all around. So nice random map here. We're going to have team 1 here across the top, team 2 down here at the bottom, and just let me finish off my usual sorting up here to make life a bit different. Have a quick look at the reclaim on the map because it is random and not a huge amount. There's 15k to be had. It's strange, 15k is not a huge amount. Well, it's only like 15 T2 mixes, but it is scattered all around the place. There's no real concentration to fight over. You maybe want to get to the middle and get some of this. You don't really want to handle that with your opponents, but still, that's only 400 there. Well, those rocks are only 400. Anywho, introductions, and first off, for team number 1 up here in the blue corner, it is Xio, I don't know, probably going to say it Xio because that's how I started, and he's Aeon in blue getting his Hydra up over there. Beside him in the front, if you like, it is Steve Vincent, Steve with an I, Steve Vincent, God knows. Anyway, he's Cybrant in the light blue. We're just going to say Steve because that's so much easier. And his teammate further down here in Aeon, another Aeon should say, is totally not a robot. Well, I mean, could have fooled me. You really do look like a robot. Like a massive, giant robot. You're a robot. Deal with it. Anyway, he's Aeon and Cyan working on some Hegens there after his Hydra. And finally for team number 1 up here in the back, it is Striker. Striker is Lavender, Striker is Aeon. So that is team number 1. We have no Cybran for them, just a couple of Aeon. Sorry, no Seraphim for them. We have a couple of Aeon, 1 Cybran, 1 UEF. Team number 2. First off down here, team number 2 in the burgundy colour, it is Okbuk. Okbuk is stomping away in Cybran, and he's going to go find something to reclaim, I'd imagine. Beside him in the middle, it is Velawan. Velawan, red Aeon, working on an air factory, and his compatriot up the top side, it is Peepo Noob. And Peepo Noob there in yellow, he's UEF, getting the drone upgrade. Looks like he wants to get a bit of building power done there. And finally for team number 2 in the back, it is Albitard. Albitard is UEF, Albitard is orange. Albitard has an air factory, and he's going to go hunting to see what is going on, getting a scout out. A reasonable idea if you can pick up your opponents, although Comrade Striker hasn't even built an air factory yet, so that's fine. Doesn't look like there's going to be much in the way of early airplay, although I take that right on back because that's some early airplay. There's a drop coming up from Xio, sending a transport over this direction. Maybe he's making a play for these mixes over here, wants to grab that spot before his opponent can get there, perhaps going over there, who knows. We shall find out. Okbuk's still on the wander, and that drop is probably the most interesting thing that is happening at the moment, although it looks like Steve, yep, he's going straight for Navy, and no Navy for Velawan, so that could be a bit of a trick he's going to go for there. Look at this rock. This is a nice rock. This is a rock worth 75 reclaim. Maybe not so much worth it. Here we go. The engineers are down. Yes, they are. And the transport is on the way. 5 engineers straight into a mass extractor, then into some factories. So I'd say Xio has kept some mass in the bank to do that with. There we go. This is a good. This is a reasonable idea. You let your mass build up a little bit. Don't spend it all right away if you're going for an expansion. This allows you to get a factory up and start producing units. It can be a good idea to do that. That's exactly what Xio has done. So keep a bit of mass in the bank, build some factories, and you're going to be able to hold that position a lot easier than without. Along comes the air to support, with some interceptors and a scout. Over this direction we have another drop which has got an NT on it. Question is it going to stop and drop that, or is it just going to get itself killed off? Well, the answer is it's going to stop. It's going to drop. Maybe. Yes, it is. Falls and crunches one of those. Poor little NGs. He's very, very hurt. He's going to get some reclaim. So you may have noticed this engineer down the bottom left corner there. If you have a look, you can see there's some figures now, and you can see how much reclaim this engineer has gained. So 72 mass, 0 energy. 25 mass, 0 energy. I hear a bomber. I see a bomber. I don't see any more engineers. Brilliant. And a second bomber running over here takes out the other engineer. So plateau held thanks to a decently timed bomber from Okpak supporting his teammate over there. This direction, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 land factories planned out there from Zhao, so he really wants to keep that. So let's have a look see. This engineer here has reclaimed 18 mass and 97 power. So you can see if there's been like a hero engineer who's grabbed so much more mass than what he's worth, because NGs for building, just have a quick nosy, they cost 52 mass. So if you build an engineer and it manages to reclaim more than 52 mass, it's paid for itself, even though that's not their primary reason for doing things. It is for building and getting things up already. Now then, what else is going on? Well, we've got engineers up here, we've got some units up here, and that is really not enough on the ground to stop this. So Peepo Noob could be having a small problem very, very shortly. Looks like he may be able to try and walk on back. That NG starting on some, well, trying to start on a point defense, but it's not going to help a lot if you can't keep the engineers alive. Rocking out with a striker, maybe to try and just delay these guys. If you can get the PD up, is going to help a lot, although there is a single T1 artillery walking on through. And yep, that's not going to survive. There is a striker out to keep the engineer going though, and some labs I think are coming on in. Yes indeedy. Some mech marines having a good grand old time, and was trying, not quite managed to kill the Aurora at, well, now it's dead. What was that from? I think it was from one of the spirits. Snoop, yes. Snoop here has got a kill. Actually finished off the Aurora, and now they might get finished off the, no. Take the, oh they did, yes. Snoop with a couple of kills. How are you doing? That's hilarious. They've got a kill each. You don't often see Snoops getting a kill. They do like 2 damage per shot. That's ridiculously low. Gun upgrade on the way for Peepo Noob. He's just sitting there with his commander. He used to have a drone that was assisting him. I wonder where that drone went. Maybe he's sitting around helping back here somewhere. There we go. It is, nope. Nope, none of those are drones. Maybe his drone died. I don't know. Maybe it's over here. I don't know. There is no drone. Radar is up for Peepo Noob though. He has this swarm coming in here. He does not want to have that happen. T1 bomber coming out. Maybe it can make a difference. Any bombs are good bombs, but it's got to drop them for it to be effective. And there's anti-air on the ground plus a wing of interceptors. That bomber gets nothing done. I thought maybe he'd see those coming with the radar, but apparently not. There's the drone. Maybe it was building and it is off doing droney things. Maybe it's going for reclaim. Who knows? Let's have a check on the right hand side just while all that's going on, and it is 2 players over here. We see Albertaz grab this little expansion, getting some units out, as while Okpak is here grabbing this expansion, ready to move up with his commander and some supporting units in the water. We see a couple of Naval yards here for Valawan. We have a couple back here for Steve, and he is moving into the water already with his commander as well, maybe heading up to the plateau. We shall see. On the left hand side though, this is Peepo Noob has finished his gun upgrade. Commander is kind of alone. I like how that drone actually has a look at that, it's actually got a little wee mount for it that it sits in. That's quite neat actually. I've never noticed that detail before, but he's got a drone on his left shoulder there. That's hilarious. Alright, over the side, and well, the T1 bomber does get a couple of kills, but gets shot down quite promptly by the interceptors and anti-air on the ground, but that's right, still managed to get something done. Bombs away on a poor little, well, not even a wreck. That dude's just dead and exploded into bits. Speaking of things dying, ooh, 5 health left on that Lobo. Not really a lot. Okay. And checking out this side, there we go, and that is the incursion from Steve. He's got his commander up there. Going to be very hard to oust with just some units, especially if you're focusing up on some navy, because you have navy coming. Okpak is in the water as well. Got himself a factory down, thrown out a couple of subs, just to be harassing, one would imagine. But now, Steve is getting support from engineers. I feel like that's going to make this little plateau his. Right, left hand side, and this is Peepo Noob. There's his drone. So drone dies down to some anti-air on the ground. He's now popping Auroras for fun, one-shotting these guys. They get in range and he kills them. Without that gun upgrade, he would be having a terrible time because Auroras would otherwise outrange him, and he can't actually one-shot the anti-air. These things appear to have 250 health, so it's good to two-shot those. One-shots everything else, and they are now running away. Up the side, finally making some progress out. Got a number of factories, get a small band of units, and they can just start making moves forward to try and claim some territory. And it looks like Pepper Noob is trying to move on up and getting that bomb support there. If we can get even just one bomb away, it could do well, but it doesn't. Pauses for a moment, launches around, gets picked out of the sky by some anti-air. Look at that little turret just spinning around, tracking the area shooting at. And those interceptors are not having a grand old time. Right, subs are doing as subs do, and they're killing off frigates that have no response. Maybe when they're done, they can think about heading up this way and perhaps challenging that. Right hand side, and let's have a look at, well, what kind of ground is there? Buck doesn't even have an upgrade on his commander at this stage, so he's up front with this massive swarm of units coming down from totally not a robot. He's got units charging up here, he's got units down here. Do we have some support here from Albutard for Okpak, but at the moment it's just his comm. And there is not a few Auroras coming down to say hello, so I'm not sure he wants to walk forward just like that, but walking forward he is. We'll see how that works out. From back up to the top left hand side, T2 upgrade on the way for Pepper Noob. Does have the drone helping us, so maybe it won't take too long. Definitely going to, not sure if he's doing that just for some extra HP or if he's actually going to think about popping down some T2 PD. Could be interesting. Some triads would not have a bad time. Up this direction we see a small run by attempted by Pepper Noob, but now he's drawing them back for some reason. Should have kept them going. They could have cooled off some eco and had themselves a grand old time down this direction. It is Okpak. He's looking okay for some reason. I see, just regrouping. So totally not robot, just regrouping his units there. I think he's well aware of how little Okpak has on the ground, so he may very well do a rush shortly, but this is T3 Air. Okpak is playing the air game while he's on the front. T3 Air is available to him, working on a P-Gen. That is very quick. We have a drop coming in here. This is, or is it going to be a ghetto gunship? That's the question. It's going to be a drop, it's going to be a ghetto gunship. Nobody knows. We'll find out in a minute. Up the top, let's just check for any kind of air tech for team number 1. And we do have T3 here, and that is a strat bomber coming along from Comrade Striker. So he thinks his opponent is not anywhere near T3L, which is right. Albutard, not even 50% built on this T3 Air factory. It is Okpak who has the T3 Air, and he's going to need to get an ASF out pronto because yeah, somebody needs T3 Air, and it's not Albutard. Your PG is done, mate. Guessing here maybe he's slightly distracted by the fact that he's got a swarm of units coming in towards his commander. Going to need something to try and help with that, but first off, he's going to need one ASF to take care of the strat that's going to be along very, very shortly. From Comrade Striker. There it is, the strat is in the air. And the Navy, though, this has been a complete and utter win for team number 2. They have ousted Steve from the water. The question is, can they do anything with it? Now's the time to go T2 if you want to, but we have Aeon and we have Cybran, possibly the least useful because the direct fire is just not quite going to work thanks to all the hills. They could maybe do something, but we'll see how that goes. Along comes the strat. Okpak does have a bunch of ASFs now, 1, 2, 3 of those ready for defense. The strat is in the middle, taking out a T2 max. Has it been spotted? Has it been tagged? Okpak needs to be really careful with his commander there. He's actually got, he actually might struggle with that. It has to be said, that's a lot of ground units, and I think that swarm could have worked personally. Maybe there's too much anti-air in the mix, too many scouts, maybe not quite enough. Strap bomber doing strap bomber things, and where are the ASFs from Okpak? There they go. They are coming on back. The strat has killed off 7 items now. Going for another bomb down here is going to be terrible if it lands, which is going to land, I should say. When it lands, takes out 2 T2 P-Gens, doesn't quite take out the third, just in a slightly wrong direction, but the ASFs turn off from Okpak. Overshoot just a slight bit, get some sideways shots. Will it get one more bomb away? think it's going to... No. Not quite. Would have been disastrous, taking out a pair of mixers and some T3 engineers, but still has done a fair amount of damage, and the rebuild is on. Okay. Would you T2 Navy based on that? Therein lies the question. Get some T2 Navy, get some cruisers up to deny this area from air, maybe throw some destroyers in, maybe some battleships do some long range. It's quite an investment, but if you have the Navy, it could be worth it. Another strap bomber is out here from Comrade Striker trying to do some things, but down the bottom, not looking great for team number 2. The Cyan Swarm from Totally Not a Robot is totally overrunning these positions, trying to hold things off. It does have a T1 PD back here, which will be very, very useful for taking out some units, but how long can it hold out is the question. It has units all up in its face, although items are getting a wee bit closer, and supporting units are coming from Albertard. That T1 PD is going to be the MVP of this particular section, killing off units that are focusing down on the factories. 10, 11, 12 kills, going to get a rank of veterancy very shortly, 13 kills, and that has undoubtedly been the MVP of this little wee skirmish, finishing off so many units even without walls. It has done a grand old job. Some T1 mobile AA would stored for that. Where is that strap bomber? There it is, doing more damage. Going to get another bomb off? Yes it is, and that's going to be extra irritating. Poor old Albertard loses another T2B gen. Absolutely struggling at the moment to stay in the air game. Thankfully Okpak has his own ASFs out. Some T1 bombers up in the midsection, no dramas on there. These units have fallen on back. That T1 PD ends with 19 kills. Has been absolutely worth its weight. Well, I say that, but actually, how much does it cost to build? 250 mass, and it has killed 812, so 3 times the mass return. That's pretty useful. Right, a whaler is out for Okpak. That's a good response to all of this, actually. Whaler would have a grand old time killing off all of those. He did get an upgrade on his commander. There we go, gun upgrade there, so he should be absolutely fine looking after that. But the ASFs have come on down from Comrade Striker. They're looking to maybe just catch that whaler out, but the whaler's just going to ignore them. Let the ASF do the talking, says Okpak. He's going to keep the screening that whaler so it can pick off those T1 units. And Comrade Striker thinks twice about coming on in. He's grouping up his ASF back. He's got a few more than Okpak, who is currently trying to do too much at once, trying to do air and hold this front line. In the meantime, back in this direction is a pause from Albertard as he gets some T3 power up, which he desperately needs to actually run that air factory. On the left hand side, it has been a consolidation from Pepper Noob. He's got a few triads up here now and attack defense. Just a couple to help ward off some T1 forces, but T1 is not what he has to worry about because that is T3 from Zhayo. He's got T3 land and some harbingers coming out there. Actually, sorry, he's had it for a while. He's got a whole bunch of harbingers over here, but looks like he's struggling on power a little bit, or he's turned the shields off because they are currently not getting a thing. There we go. He is absolutely stalling on power. The more harbingers he builds, the more he's going to stall. And yeah, no, I think he's got those shields off deliberately because they're coming out and got nothing. Alright. It makes him quite weak. The ping going down there for Conrad Striker. We just happened to catch that while we were looking at that team. Just a few patrolling T1 units. Some hovers coming on over. Lasers looking to get them out of the water. What's over this direction? We have... Wow, Steve has grabbed torpedo on his comm. That really, really annoying thing the Cyber Commander can do. Turn himself into quite the formidable naval unit, especially with stealth. Makes it very, very hard to see. And can take quite... It does quite well actually. It can hold its own for a limited number of T2 units. This area has been absolutely wiped out. So many units, but so much reclaim. What we've got there, 9,000 reclaim in this area alone. Zoom in a wee bit to go just for this section here. We still have 5,000 to grab, so yeah, absolutely get that factory up and get it moving on some NGs for reclaim. I hear another strat over this way this time, and that strat bomb has just taken out those 2 triads plus the attack missile defense. Yeah, it's going to carry on and drop some more bombs over this direction. Needs some support. Where are the ASFs? Well, Albertard has none. has precisely 0 ASFs, and he's working on some build power, but if that strat comes back down here and kills off more PGens, bit of a bad time. In fact, that strat's going to just wander on by. Looks like it's going to grab another mass extractor. Working on out. Going to keep an eye up this way. No, I think People Noob should be alright for just the moment. Don't need to worry about that. In come the ASFs from Albertide. They're coming on back, but that strap bomber caught up to by some interceptors, and they might be inties, but they will tickle it down to death. And it is now bowing out. Quick check up in this direction, and we see that People Noob is now shooing these forces away with this comb. He's got some T2 on the ground, but that's going to be an issue when you are facing up against T3, and these Harbinger shields are now active. So Zhayo must have fixed up his energy problems. Come on, yes he has. He now is in the positives. And you can power the shields on those, which will keep them alive a bit longer. There we go. So the problem with having a drone is it gets shot down by anti-air, such as these guys. Never noticed that before. They actually pop open. So just this little bits of detail like that, which I just completely miss when I'm playing the game because I don't zoom in that much, but they actually open. They actually open so they can fire their missiles. That's amazing. Over this direction, and it is Vincent just being problematic with his commander. That torpedo comms being a big annoyance. So hover is an answer. You can't torpedo hover. On comes another strat, and what's he going for this time? Going for the factory, going for the T2 mix. T2 mix I think was the priority there. Flies on past and is now hunting new game. The question is there something over here it sees worth bombing, such as a commander? Might take a few passes to get him. He is quite sturdy, or is it just going to go for the mountain? Actually, that's where the bomb landed. So no dice for that bomb, that particular bombing run. Gonna swing back around, come through, and maybe drop another bomb, take out all of this kind of thing. Some T3 on the ground, some Titans are in play by People Noob. It's going to help him hold that front. Strap bomber is, well, bypassing all the ASFs who overshot by a huge margin. And now it's going to get another bomb away. Say good night to your TT mix. And another one, plus some engineers perhaps. Bonk. And it is just running away. Another bomb. What's it going for this time? Grabs that max there, kills whatever's on coming off that conveyor belt. Just running in a straight line, killing mixes as it goes. Now destroying final one there. How many kills? 24 kills. 7,500 mass destroyed. Maybe get another bomb away? Yes, it does. So might die before that gets registered, but still another highly effective surgical strike bomb. Bombing run took out so much, and that's just a mass irritation. Could have been prevented all the way back here if the ASFs from Albertide had been just a little bit to the left. I don't know what he was focusing on, but he needed to focus on that bomber because it has done roaring success. NT versus strategic bomber, and the strat bombers would actually win that. Doesn't need the ASFs to come and help, but they do. Doesn't matter. Strat bomber is down. Run by coming on through. Some Harbingers looking to get on past, plus a Redeemer. Redeemer's going to be just again another irritation as it picks units out of the sky. But these guys are getting chased by Titans. I don't think they're going to last too much longer. The Titans are very much faster. They've got a good amount of firepower. Harbingers dying. Horrible deaths. Another bomber over there. Just the harassment from Conrad Striker and the strat bombers just sneaking around the place. They're doing wonders. And where are the ASFs? Well, they're tangling in an air war, and two ASFs have been picked out by Okpak to go for the strat bomber, whilst the rest of the air entangles. Although now it's a proper air fight, Okpak is going to win that with his decent amount of ASFs and better micro. Conrad Striker runs away, but the strat bomber survives. I think that was the purpose of it, and they can now keep on going and destroy even more mixes. Every single time it's just like another thing you have to rebuild. Some more mass you're not getting into the coffers, more damage, more destruction, and it's going to get one more bomb away? No, it doesn't. Not quite. Falls out of the sky. So Comrade Striker with these strat bombs, and here's another one. Another strat coming on out. They really need something. They really need to deal with these in a better fashion. They have to be taken down before they get into a problematic position where they can punish team number 2. Because look, here's another exposed mass extractor. Flies a bit close to a cruiser perhaps. Cruiser is close, going to get some missiles out. Do some damage, but it's not going to take it down, and it's going to keep on going half dead. Take down one mass extractor. Any second now it's going to take down another mass extractor. ACFs are coming up from Albertard. They are pointing the wrong direction, but they're going to pick it up this time. Still, might have cost them. Sometimes I think the irritation is just worth it. Right, Harbingers have been dropped onto this aisle here, and they're going to just clean up all of this basically. They probably want to focus on the T1 PD that's shooting back at them, but for some reason they're prioritizing the anti-air. Seems to be a bit silly. Maybe the anti-air has a higher mass cost than the T1 PD. I think from memory the auto-aim does go for that kind of thing, so nope, makes no sense. Makes no sense. Alright. Left hand side, and we've got some Titans, and they're just harassing some Redeemers there. 4 Redeemers stuck out front with no support, and the Harbinger's going to group up with them and make life a wee bit more interesting. Over the side, a shield with a couple of trays and a few Titans for Peeper Noob. And if he gets rushed, I feel like he could have some problems. It's not a small army belonging to Jaio. Checking out the right hand side, and once again we have the T1 swarm rocking on through from Totally Not a Robot. He's cleaned out this section once again. Not much was there to stop it, and we see the Whalers from Okpak, and while they're tidying up those T1 units, why not? With Mobile, they can clean them up. He's got a decent air wing to help stop that, and the question is, where is his comm? His comm's up here, nice and healthy, got gun upgrade. He'll be quite happy to just carry on as he's doing. Okay. Is this the bush? Oh, hello. Somebody's gotten back to the Navy by a huge way. We have Aeon and Cybran in the water here from Steve and Jaio. Looks like they want to go and claim that region. Pushing back and just basically... maybe they want to try and control this midsection. We shall have to see. Left hand side, and lots on the ground from Jaio. Looks like he's preparing for some kind of push. Shield upgrade on the way for People Noob. He's ditched the drone, going for the shield instead. Over on the right hand side, this is Okpak walking up with his commander. Decides he's just going to be a bit harassing. He has his ASFs rocking on overhead, killing off the interceptors. Maybe he's thinking about bringing his Whalers in, but he doesn't want to do it with all this AA. A whole lot of T1 AA on the ground that will actually do a decent amount of damage to the Whalers. You want to keep them away from that. They're slow moving, they will take the full brunt of that kind of action. Speaking of the full brunt of things, Okpak's comm is walking into Sim T3. Might not be the best of ideas there. Although if he overcharges the Harbingers, he'll be okay. Although there's the turn back, looks like he's moving in this direction, and the Harbingers, are they going to give chase? Are they going to get overcharged by a very angry commander? Although I didn't see any overcharge there. Does he have access? He does. Why am I even questioning that? The question is, does he have it turned on? There's one overcharge, there's one dead Harbinger, and another one perhaps. Dead Harbingers. Yeah, he's going to be fine. Couple of ranks of veterancy, in come the Whalers, and they're going to do nicely for a bit of air defense as well. Going to take out those T1 bombers, although there's a Redeemer in the mix being a problem, so Okpak's going to be right down there. Supported by air, he'll have no issues whatsoever. Hover has made so. Actually, I take that back, not Hover, Wagners. So these amphibious things drop under the water. They have made their way up here, and they're looking to knock out something of anything on this plateau, which they are going to be able to do. Just as the Harbingers on this side have cleaned up, the Wagners are going to clean up their side as well. I'm hearing another strat. I'm looking for it. This time it belongs to Albertard, and he was trying to get some work done, trying to kill off some extractors perhaps, but oh, I see a gap there. Right there. I don't know if that was on purpose. Could have maybe knocked out this section here instead, but don't really see much in the way of any structural damage from that strat bomber. Mass extractors are hurt over here, but not dead. Is he going again, or is that a different bomber? I hear it, but I just simply don't see it. Alright, Wagners have made their presence known in this direction, and well, it's going to take a while. Wagners are pretty weak. I say when they're pretty weak, they're got some health, but their torpedoes are so pathetic. Look at this. This 3205, 15 damage. 15 damage from those torpedoes. That's just like almost nothing. Right hand side, and this is Okpak. He is being very bold with his commander. He's got 4 ranks of veterancy now, and he's just looking to clean out the section, perhaps just soften it down before he sends in his own units. He's got bricks rocking up as well. He's got whalers, he's got air. He should be alright for the stage. Just wants to try and clean that bottom right corner. Up in this direction we see that is Peepo Noob moving up with his commander, but he's also got some, I saw them there, support commanders. In fact, Rambo support commanders. So these guys are geared for battle. They want to have a scrap, and well, they can have a scrap if they want it. There's a lot of land sitting down here. That's what the bomber hit beforehand. Some mass extractors over there. I'm hearing more. Big air fight going over this way because there's T2 air, oh dear. Just caught the end of that, a T2 Corsair snipe. Takes Okpak down. That was so unusual. He had air with him, he had ASFs, but I guess the surprise of the Corsairs, that first run would have done a huge amount of damage, and he is out of the picture. This leaves the whalers over here. They're getting picked apart by Redeemers, which are under shields. Unfortunate for them, they are not going to get much more done. There's too much anti-air. They need to fall back from that spot. Over here, some more Wagners under the water. And the question is, what from here? Well, Albertard has been handed over this land force on the right hand side. I wonder if maybe that could have been better handled by somebody else. Who knows? Up this direction, well, that's unfortunate. Rambocom playing in Rising Round to fuck the ground there. Spiders walk on 8 ticks. No, they do not, Foodman. Don't you ever say it again. Right. Now, this is ideal for Peepo Noob. He could rush the spot. He can get the Rambocoms in, he can get the Titans in, he could take out that T3 HQ. He really should, because there is no other HQ around. He reduces that to rubble, and that is all of the T3 production for Jaio out until he rebuilds and re-upgrades. It's going to go down. No way that Jaio is going to stop that. And there we have it. T3 production is now limited for Mr. Jaio, and a secondary army over here from Peepo Noob. So nice split. He's got one army over here doing damage, distracting all of these units, even as another group moves up this way. They could just romp on through here, keep on moving up and destroy a bunch of eco. I'm hearing another strat bomber though. Here it is this time. Has taken out double mixes over there. More mixes going on down. Just not a great time. It's about that time when old Comrade Striker decides to have a go, and he's stopped chasing. Oh, it's a SAM, that's why. He stopped chasing it because it's a SAM launcher, but it's not going to kill it. No, is it? It's not. Strat Bomber is not going to die. That's a support commander. Don't worry too much about that. What was Albertard thinking? He should have kept the ASFs on the Strat, because now it's getting away. It's getting away with a whole lot of damage. And it can keep on going, because get your ASFs on that. Come on. Don't let the Strat get away with this much punishment and destroying stuff. Well, he had a couple of ASFs on it, and now it's just sort of doing its thing. Finally it's going to die, but not forgetting another bomb off and killing that mass extractor there. Another Rambocom over this direction. I mean, there might be Rambocoms, but still that's a lot of T3, and Harbingers can dish out the punishment when you're getting close, but still does a decent amount of damage. Another Strat Bomber. This time it's flying over a bunch of cruisers. That's a terrible idea. Strat Bomber is not going to get much more done out of there. On this side we see T1 Airs being a nuisance. We do have a brick down there, some T3 NGs, T3 HQ up the front again, but the Wagners have rolled into the middle of what used to be Okpak space, and they have taken out so much stuff, whether it's the Wagners themselves in conjunction with the Strat Bombers dropping their bombs, but the air grid that used to belong to Okpak and was transferred to Albertard is gone, maybe he should think about rebuilding that instead of reclaiming, get the power back, get the air stations back, rebuild those mass extractors, get the eco back up and running to do something with. Up in this section, still a strap bomber in the middle doing its thing, still a bunch of Navy around, some torpedo bombers are coming on out. Don't know what they're going to go for. Maybe this Navy over here. The ASFs are in residence from both Jaio and Comrade Striker, so they're going to get like one pass, do some damage, and then they're going to be turned into some reclaim under the water. There is the runway we're talking about from these Titans. Going to get through and kill some eco, but there's a lot of restorers. So Jaio doesn't really care about having lost his T3 ground HQ, I'd imagine, because he now has T3 air HQ and a lot of restorers. How many restorers is that? Oh, he's building them hardcore. 22 restorers. And, well, let's be honest. Team 1 absolutely own the air right now. Well, maybe not. There's quite a few assets belonging to Albertard. He has 65 ASF there, and he's not using them to kill a strap bomber, which has itself 20 kills. 25 kills. Totally Not a Robot has built an experimental. What have you built, good sir? Is that your base? Somewhere else? Up here? There we go. A GC from Totally Not a Robot had built up the front, is now stomping his way towards the back. Question is, do they have anything to counter it? Don't see anything on the ground there. That's what being built, but Valor1 does. He's built himself a GC, and that could then go back in the opposite direction and be kind of defensive. One would think a torrent. Hello, this was a... this was a good choice. The range and damage capability of this thing is well worth it. It needs to be kept alive though. There's bombers out, there's Navy about, there's still this commander about as well. So really want to try and keep that torrent alive. It has great range and great damage potential. Just have a look at this thing. It could come over here and decimate this base and this base from the punishment. Things going on. Oh, was that a T2 air snipe? Corsairs, and what are they going for? They're looking at some unshielded stuff over here. There's an HQ, no, going for the power. T3 PGen. Though the ASFs are going to just keep that alive. Not so bad. Ranged little sniper attempt, but maybe that was a distraction because over here this is Peepo Noob. Peepo Noob has been found by the restorers and his health is just absolutely disappearing. He's got one Sam over here. Some flak, but it's not going to make any kind of difference, and this is maybe the wrong time. Control K's still had a bunch of health, and the ASFs were up from Albertard. Throws out the GG. Maybe he figured he was going to die anyway, and just let it happen. But Rambo comes up here, wrecking the ground. The torrent is adding its damage over this way as well. See, there's some destroyers and subs having to go at the Navy in this direction. Some Wagners are coming through again. No, they're just Wagners. I say just, but you know, the Wagners, I suppose, some damage over no damage. The GC is underwater walking its way forward, but where was the GC from? There it is. That is there from Totally Not a Robot, walking its own way down in this direction, being supported by a very large T3 army. And there's not anything really on the ground to stop these. Unless they're on hold fire, this T1 PD is going to do jack shit. These guys are just going to romp over those. Back in the water though, this is, well, there's some torpedo bombers have come out from Comrade Striker, but let's just have a look, see what's going on down here. And well, Navy versus Navy, and there is the destroyers trying to do their thing. They need to be twisty, dodgy, and moving around because, well, our muzzle fire is really slow. So as long as you keep moving, you'll be right. Torrent under threat from these torpedo bombers, and that's a good threat. Taking a whole bunch of damage there, but the cruisers behind are going to pick them off well in advance, but the turret is not going to make it. More torpedo bombers coming on in, and that's going to be the end of those. Totally Not a Robot has built another experimental. Some support commanders over here are getting absolutely hammered by these restorers. Get some shields and get some anti-air in, Yeah, but that's a lot of restorers to be having a problem with. And still, Navy is being held by team number 1 in the middle, not so good. Just more strats doing more damage. Another 24 kills in that one. Good to see this coming on down, and the air. Sorry, the ground forces with the anti-air in it are going to be problematic to deal with. GC has finally turned up. These guys are all dead. Nothing they're going to be able to do. This air section here is doomed as well. Think of engineers, mass extractors. They are just going to roll over that. More torpedo bombers. Lots of anti-air. Not enough to shoot away. Well, enough to shoot away the restorers. Decided they've had enough and they're going to move back. What are these torpedo bombers going for? They're going to hit the HQ maybe, or they're going to go and hit the Navy. There are some cruisers in the mix. Looks like they're going straight for the cruisers. Yes, indeedy. Cruisers are not going to have a good day with those. They are sinking. You ever get that sinking feeling? Those cruisers do, because they are dead. But that ground force is coming, and there's nothing. Absolutely nothing on the ground that can stop them. There's some broadswords up, but broadswords are going to have a bad time with a number of redeemers. Watch their health. They just get hammered. How many redeemers are down there? 13 redeemers, yeah. Broadswords aren't going to last. Well, as you saw, they didn't last very long at all. They got just scrubbed. And this is Albertard. Commander is trying to do something, but this is an unupgraded bomb. He is going to be destroyed. One of those harbingers get in range. There we go. Albertard down to the yellow, trying to shoot something, anything, but doesn't matter. He is a dead com. And there goes the HQ. Yes, indeed, HQ's gone for the Albertard's out of the game. This leaves just Vela one, who has all of that, and a GC. Absolutely everything coming to kill him. There's not a heck of a lot he can do. Not much at all. Seeing there's anything around that may be able to repel this, except for having another GC and maybe a whole bunch of point defense. Yeah, he's got nothing. He's got nothing. Inevitable doom is marching away. Inevitable doom is here. And what's his response? Well, I think death is about the only response he has. That's just rude. Get over with. And Vela 1 is the final player to fall for team number 2.